Hello and welcome to another edition of Kogi in Focus, the program that beams the searchlight on activities around the three senatorial zones of Kogi, Nigeria's confluent state. I'm Oluwatosin Osuji. On the program today, Kogi State's government introduces typhoid vaccines, launches drug subsidy. NLC tells federal government to release 30 billion naira bailout fund balance to the Kogi State government to offset outstanding salaries and other welfare emoluments. As Kogi State marks 2019 May Day, we hear what the workers have to say. These and much more when we return. Don't go away. Welcome back. The Kogi State chapter of the Judiciary Staff Union of Nigeria has called off its strike action embarked on 4 months ago, following the introduction of biometric data capturing and table payment system introduced by the state government. Last week, a delegation of the National Judicial Commission, led by the former president of the Court of Appeal, Honorable Justice Umar Abdullahi, met with the governor, BELLO, to resolve the lingering issues. Part of the resolution was to call off the strike with agreement to proceed with the biometric data capturing and table payment system. Anytime from now, judiciary workers are expected to receive their 5 months outstanding salaries as promised by the state government after last week's meeting with the National Judicial Council. The Kogi State Ministry of Health has taken stock of subsidized drugs supplied for honor distribution to designated pharmacies across the 3 senatorial zones, who will in turn sell at a subsidized rate to users. The State Commissioner for Health, Saka Haruna, said the move is part of the state government's efforts to ensure fake drugs from circulation and ensure residents of the state have access to quality health care.
Indigent segments of the populace that may not be able to afford basic medical needs. We also set special consideration for unidentified accident victims. This is not a profit-making venture, but at least whatever we make from this venture will be enough to sustain the running of drug management in Kogi State. Haruna
said, with the help of the sustainable drug supply system, the government will be in the position to monitor drugs circulating within the state.
It's the effort of His Excellency Alhaji Bello, the Executive Governor of Kogi State, to bring healthcare to the doorstep of every Kogite. We can track drugs right from the state medical store here to the zonal stores and finally to the facility stores.
Renowned pharmacists in the state confirmed the genuineness of the supplied drugs.
The drugs came to real manufacturing pharmaceutical companies. It was not gotten from open market. So that is to say that the genuinity of the drugs is assured, and it was by PPP arrangement.
This scheme, the sustainability, the affordability, the dynamism with which we have come, and the zeal to make the program succeed, definitely there will be the issue of expiry will be to the barest minimum.
They expressed satisfaction with the state government gesture, saying the drug supply system will contribute significantly to this improvement of healthcare delivery in the state. Kogi State government has launched a typhoid vaccination program to reduce the rising rate of infections and deaths from the disease. The Permanent Secretary and Director General, Ministry of Health, Kolawole Johnson, who said this at the State Ministry of Health, Lokoja, also called on residents from the age of 2 and above to get to the designated centers for vaccination.
We give kudos to the present government for this kind of vaccination, And not that we are starting here in the ministry today, definitely it's going to cost across the look and cranny of the state. So it is a remarkable program.
Pharmacist Onu Christian, who coordinated vaccination, said the service is free courtesy of the GYB Healthcare Plus. He said the only effect is an allergic reaction, which he said will be taken care of. He wants pregnant women to also take advantage of the vaccination program.
Typhoid is a prevailing situation in Kogi State. Worst hit is Kogi Central. So with that, from our basic preliminary investigation, we now sent in a proposal with respect to addressing this issue, which the governor now took it personally with respect to the meager funds that are coming in to address the ugly trend. After being vaccinated, it gives you an immunogenic response, which gives you a cover for 3 to 5 years. Basically, an immunocompromised patient, a pregnant woman it's advised, caution for a pregnant woman, but it's very safe.
The vaccine is manufactured by a French pharmaceutical company based in Nigeria. The Kogi State chapter of the Nigerian Labour Congress and the Trade Union Congress say the rumor being spread that the state civil servants are being owed 38 months' salary is far from the truth. The union leaders who made their views known in Lokoja condemns the rumor, describing it as unfortunate.
There are persons that were brought in at 16 months, they were cleared when they were already owing them 16 months. Others were being owned 22 months before they were cleared. Others were being owned 23 months before they were cleared. Others were being owned 7 months, 3 months, as the case may be. So that's exactly what it is. So depending on the number of months before you were cleared by the then Okala Ododo screening committee, before you were brought on board, those months for which you were being owned are now cumulative or accumulation of salary arrears of that category of worker. Which, if you now add the 7 months being owned by every category of worker on it, it will now give you about 30 months.
I want to say that with the pressures and appeal and the applications of civil service rules, His Excellency magnanimously granted clemency and pardon, which clear about 40 infractions, leaving a balance of 4: the diaspora, the fake certificate, fraud, and stay results. So, and bringing those people that were having other infractions, the time they were brought back to salary determined the arrears they are owing them.
They said the government is owing genuine workers 7 months outstanding salary.
December 2018 is outstanding. January to April 2019 is outstanding, giving us a balance of 5 months. And in 2017, August to December, state government paid us 60%, leaving a balance of 40%. For 5 months, that is 200%. That also amounts to 2 months. If you add it, that is 7 months.
In the case of local government workers, he attributed the accumulated salaries to percentage payments of salaries owed by past administrations.
Because salaries are paid in percentage. So if you put all the differences in the percentage together, you now see from the continuity of Wada's government to the present Yaya Bello's government in the local government and teachers' money. It's over 30 months salary they are owing those category of workers.
Our advice is government and labor to sit down and, let the AG's office that are shadowed with the responsibility of payment of salary sit down, calculate, and come out with data and figures of the persons and the amount they are owing them. It's an obvious part. You understand what I'm saying? We are not saying that the whole workers in the state government is owing them 38 months.
To settle the workers' outstanding salaries, the union leaders called on the federal government to release the balance of the 30 billion naira bailout fund to the state government. On judiciary staff workers' face-off, the TUC chairman, Ronti Ojo, said they are being owed 10 months' salary as a result of strike action against the pay parade system introduced to ascertain the true number of civil servants in the state. Thousands of Kogi State workers and top government officials converged on the Confluent Stadium, Lokoja, to mark this year's Workers' Day. Top on the list of workers' demand is government's full and implementation of the 30,000 naira minimum wage at all levels.
This year's Workers' Day was different as the centenary celebration of the International Labour Organization was also part of the agenda. Chairman of the Kogi State chapter of the Nigerian Labour Congress, Onu Eduka, said the state workers are not getting what they are supposed to get in terms of remuneration and welfare.
I want to put it on note that because we are already in the electionary year, the period where many people will be seeking our hand to seek for election into Lugard House, it will be better I advise the government to look into paying the arrears of these salaries before the Kogi workers will take over the streets very soon. Whether we like it or not, the then administration of Wada's government applied for 50.8 billion naira. His Excellency Governor BELLO received 20 billion. And the 20 billion he received, all of us will recollect that the money was used for 4 months' salary then. For state workers and local government workers, local government got 3 months. At the end of the day, the 30.8 billion that is now left, even if we leave it in CBN, even if President Buhari doesn't approve it, we cannot have the money to pay our arrears overnight. And that is why we are standing very strong and demanding that those bailouts be released so that the amount of money they are owing us, part of those monies can be liquidated. We will now know how many that is standing. And those ones that will be standing will become clear.
Trade Union Congress counterpart Roti Ojo described the workers' welfare problem as a nationwide problem, which will soon be solved.
It is not only Kogi State. The whole of workers in Nigeria are being traumatized as a result of irregular payment of salaries. Our own case in Kogi State is more precarious because we have backlog of salaries unpaid.
Other union members commended President Muhammadu Buhari's signing of minimum wage law.
Implementation of the minimum wage, the new minimum wage, which affects the federal and the state workers, definitely is a good step in the right direction. And we believe with this minimum wage, it will enhance the workers' wages a little bit.
And we believe that going forward, the government will do the needful and put machinery in motion to ensure that the salaries of these workers are cleared.
I will advise workers to keep on having faith that tomorrow will be brighter.
The Secretary to the State Government, Ayuade Folashade, who represented the governor at the event, promised the new minimum wage will be implemented and assured teachers their salary will be returned to the State Universal Basic Education Board, SUBEB.
No matter how small the income of the state may be, we shall also continue to tackle the arrears as frequently and as aggressively as possible. We are going to key into the new minimum wage recently signed into law by Mr. President. As usual, we shall sit down with your leaders to fashion out workable modalities for this.
There were calls for the restatement of higher institution lecturers whose appointments were terminated during the screening exercise. The representative of the Federal Ministry of Labour and Employment at the event, Oluwatoyin Olugbami, was present, appealed to the state government to what it can to improve on workers' welfare.
We believe that whatever the government say, they will surely do it. My advice to them is that as the federal government have done it and signed it into law, and as the state is starting to pay the money, we should work harder. We should be able to justify our pay, and that will move the country and the economy forward.
The wife of the Chief of Army Staff and President of the Nigerian Army Officers' Wives, NAOWA, Umar Kalsium Tukur Buratai, has commissioned a renovated healthcare facility, children's daycare, and oversaw the groundbreaking of NAOWA Secretariat building at the Chari Montgomery Barracks, Lokoja. The host and zonal chairperson of NAOWA Lokoja, Arrears, said it is a call to bring succor to the less privileged, especially widows, whose husbands died in the course of duty or from natural causes.
Pregnant women and wives of the fallen heroes were the center of attraction as they line up to benefit most from the facilities. Beneficiaries expressed their joy.
I'm happy because this is the first time this thing has happened here. In fact, I'm highly grateful.
A big thank you to her because she has done well. And we pray God will continue to open their way from being the first time for them to introduce NAOWA and NAOWA school and the gifts they gave to us, even the labor room they renovated. We want to say a very big thank you and God will bless them.
The women also commended the presence of the state governor's wife Rashida Bello at the event, whom they described as a reliable source of support to the less privileged in the states. President of Nigerian Army Officers' Wives Association NAOWA, Omar Kazum Tukur Buratai, assured them of continued support at all times.
I also want to urge you all to promote the good intention of providing quality education in this cantonment. The foundation laying of the crèche and daycare we just performed is a milestone towards preparing our younger generations for a better tomorrow. I therefore call on all and sundry to contribute and donate generously to ensure the completion of this school.
The wife of the governor, Rashida Bello, and the convener, Arrears, said, giving a sense of belonging to the less privileged will provide them with the needed empowerment to ensure they stand on their own.
We are on the same page already, so we're going to give them all the support I can to make sure we execute more such projects for the vulnerable ones in our society.
We are therefore elated that with the commissioning of the office today, a new lease of life will be given to the NAOWA in Lokoja to coordinate their activities effectively in order to positively impact on the welfare and lives of families of personnel, as well as the widows and children of diseased personnel.
The NAOWA President Omar Kazum Buratai called on women and wives of army personnel to ensure they avail themselves of the opportunities provided for vocational training, which will in turn enhance their living standards. The wife of the governor and the NAOWA president's entourage also visited patients, including a mother of quintuplets at the Federal Medical Center, Lokoja, where they provided them with some relief to aid their recovery.
If you are just joining us, this is Kogi in Focus, the program that keeps you up to speed on developments and happenings in and around Kogi State. For your contributions, feedback, advert placements, please reach out to us through our phone numbers and social media handles displayed on your screen. The Kogi State government has launched a 6-week free medical outreach across 5 local governments for 50,000 persons affected by the 2018 floods in the state. The outreach, a collaboration between the State Ministry of Health in collaboration with the Royal Heritage Health Foundation, targets all residents of the benefiting communities.
Kogi State was among the states worst hit by 2018 floods. Since then, several individuals and groups have provided various forms of support to affected communities and individuals. The coordinator and the spokesperson of the Royal Heritage Health Foundation explained its role in the recent relief efforts.
This intervention by Royal Heritage Health Foundation is part of the effort to fortify the intervention and strengthen interventions carried out in and around the time of the flood. Additionally, we are preparing our teams with the support of WHO to commence preparations for any event of flood in 2019.
I need to quickly correct one thing. The funder that is supporting this project is United Nations Population Fund. we are only implementing for them at the grassroots level.
Kogi State Health Commissioner Saka Haruna said government will not abandon its responsibility to the people in spite of assistance from other well-meaning groups and individuals.
After rehabilitation, and we are still giving them continuous health package in order that we can be sure that we properly rehabilitate this category of people. This government will never leave them, whether in time of celebration or in time of adversity. The government of Kogi State, under the able leadership of His Excellency Alhaji Yahya Bello, will continue to demonstrate to the people that indeed their health need is a major priority in the new direction administration of this government.
Drugs and medical consumables were some of the relief items to be distributed to persons affected across Ibaji, Ajakuta, Bassa, Lokoja, and Kogi Kotonkarufi local governments.
The Kogi State government and the women rights group have made a joint call to the people of the state to show an act capable of truncating the peace prevailing in the state. They made the call during what was tagged a walk for peace in Lokoja, the state capital.
The women's group Amazons for Peace say the rally has become imperative to sensitize the people, especially youths, to maintain peace, which they say is the foundation for development. They highlighted the need to avoid thuggery and other crimes as elections and political campaigns approach.
Peace is the bedrock of any developing society, and that has also opened doors for investors to see Kogi as a haven for them to comfortably bring in their money and know that it is going to be safe. We the women are saying to you that 4 years is not enough. The damage of 20 years cannot be written off in 4 years.
The Secretary to the State Government, Chief of Staff to the Governor, and other government officials at the rally also highlighted the need for peace.
The governorship election is coming up, and I want to tell everybody as I stand here, representing the government of Kogi State as the SSG by God's grace, that the government of New Direction believes so much in peace. We don't want violence. We don't want any form of civil disturbance. We can only sustain developments when we have a state of harmony.
I want to encourage our Amazons that forget the noise. The noise is such that it will be so loud, so national, so global, so that the victory will equally be so loud, so national, and so global.
We are going to tell our men that during the last election, women and youth constituted 85% of voters. And if we, the women and youth, come out to preach peace, we are sure we are going to have peace in the next election.
Hundreds of women joined the conveners of the walk across major parts of the Kogi State capital.
The Kogi State government has uncovered over 8,000 unintended beneficiaries in the just concluded biometric data capture of the state civil servants, pensioners, and appointees. The latest discovery is said to have many persons' names on the payrolls of 2 or more state ministries.
The Secretary to the State Government, Ayoade Folashade, made the latest discovery known to journalists in Lokoja, said the biometric exercise and table salary payment is achieving the desired results. She confirmed that checks worth millions of naira which will have ended in fraudulent hands have been abandoned.
People we've been paying that's been on payroll, we wrote their checks down. Everybody, the checks, the accountants general's office did a fantastic job. They wrote the checks with the amounts due to them. Now, come for biometric data capturing, then we hand over your checks to you. It will amaze you to hear that the first stage that we had, over 400 checks were waiting for people to come and collect them. They were nowhere to be found. As I speak to you, the head of service is still working on some staff, both at the local government and the state level, to make sure that innocent people are not shortchanged. I need to let you know that very soon, the issue of salary arrears will be behind us by the grace of God.
Commissioner of Finance and other key members of the pay parade who are directly involved in ensuring the system works narrated their concerns.
After the first exercise, we still discovered that there are still some element within the system that still want to frustrate it. As I'm looking at the monetary value of the uncollected checks, it is it's above 66 million. Was the last check. You know, the value of 66 million in the present day economy, convert 66 million to any currency around the world is a big money. So that one alone can transfer the economy of a single ward out of the 239 ward. With this one now, this can't happen again. It means we are saving 66 million multiplied by the number of months. And if we look at it with the time value of money and calculate everything, it's big money.
Pay parade exercise was done once, or it will be done once to every civil servant. You could only be converted with pay parade or table payment if you have not been captured biometrically. Since November last year that we had that of the state and the data were collected, they've been receiving salaries, and it has been the usual way, e-payment, through their various bank accounts. It is, of course, the state government may wish, after a year or two, just to reconfirm again. That is another security measure. Okay, come forward again and see. But for now, the exercise is over.
Labour leaders described the new payment system as a smart move by the state government.
For the pay parade activities of the committee so far, it has been very wonderful, and by His grace, it should have been going conclusive by now, if not the extension of the job to the judiciary that the mandate has just been given to the committee under the SSG. It has been so wonderful. It led to a lot of discovery in the course of the assignments, and I will start by saying some political appointees who are appointed in this government were discovered to be on payroll of some one or two institutions, and at the same time they are receiving political appointee salary. This paper was able to unveil that, and a lot of other persons who perhaps were taking salaries of their deceased father in the last one or so year were equally discovered and were stopped. There were some persons who perhaps at the end of the day was equally discovered for one infraction or the other in the course of the screening exercise and were screened out. In all, reducing the cost of wage bill or money going to some unintended beneficiaries in the cost of the assignment. And equally to some workers who were screened out in the course of the screening exercise for one reason or the other, equally got themselves cleared by the pay parade when they went out to see that discoveries were made that they were genuinely supposed to be on the payroll, and along the line they were returned back to payroll. I think it was a very successful exercise so far, being done for both pensioners and the civil servants.
It has been able to bring those people who were not on salary back on payroll. Even though it was 1 month, those people got. But subsequently, those salaries that were paid thereafter, that because it was after that October salary and November salary were paid, those people were able to access it. And in the course of pay parade, there are some checks that were not claimed. But for now, the committee is still working to actually ascertain how many checks that were not claimed and where has this money been going to over the period that the committee that screened brought them on payroll. So we are getting to that. So because as a result of this success, His Excellency were happy and agreed that this exercise should also be extended to local government and primary school. But in their own case, it was not pay parade. You understand what I'm saying? It was not table payment because of their own peculiar problem there. But what we did was to capture them biometrically so that we know the genuinity of their existence.
Many civil servants share a similar view.
It's going to check the excesses of the lingering issues of ghost workers and what have you. Secondly, I think the governor himself has come to realize or has come to imbibe the pains of his people, and he really wants to see that things are done the right way.
I'm looking at this as those ones, they are not waste staffs. Because if they are bold enough, if they are staff, they will come out boldly and collect and do the screening. Those ones, they are underground staffs.
I don't think any legible worker will not come to collect his or her own check. If actually you know you are a worker, so you come and collect your check, irrespective of where you are and what is happening. Except you are not, you are not eligible for that check.
Table payment and you collect a check for your salary. If somebody did not come, I don't have any advice for him. That is, it's not a civil servant.
Those that did not show up at all, that is to say that it's a reserve for the state. Honestly, it's a welcoming development. And the civil servants are happy with this method of screening. We welcome their idea. And the way they are going, we're all satisfied. It's a very good development. Very, very excellent. I prefer this.
The biodata capture and table payment is one-time exercise, and since it took off, all confirmed workers have been paid through their respective salary accounts.
Kogi State Governor Yahya Bello has commiserated with the senator representing Kogi West, Senator Dino over the death of his mother, Deaconess Comfort Milai, who passed on Thursday, 2nd May 2019. In a condolence message to Senator Milai, Governor Bello describes the news of Deaconess Milai's death as a rude shock and great loss not only to Kogi State but Nigeria in general, considering her invaluable contributions to the cause of humanity. The Kogi State's governor's personally signed condolence message was made available to journalists in Lokoja by his chief press secretary, Onogu Muhammad. He described the departed Deaconess Milai as a quintessential mother, devout Christian, and a community leader who devoted her lifetime to the service of God and humanity. This is a wrap it up on today's edition of Kogi in Focus. Join me for what promises to be another exciting edition, same time, same station next week. And as usual, keep doing to others what you want them to do to you. I'm Oluwatosin Osuji. Bye for now.